Hey, so today we're back to bobcats. We're back to the Bobcat Study. Want to catch you up on everything that I know so far, what we've learned, what we've seen, who we've talked to, all of that stuff. So hey, my name is Stacy. Welcome to the channel if you're on YouTube, or welcome, hi, wherever I'm seeing you at. I go by Stace, so Stace is the channel. And yes, we are back to the Bobcat Study. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, what I'm talking about, our Bobcat Study is newer, something that we just started working on, and it's one of those studies that we plan on doing for a long period of time. I can already tell in the video I am sweating. If you're not sure where I'm at, we are in Arizona. I am in Gold Canyon, Arizona, bumped up next to the Superstition Mountain. It's, I want to say roughly maybe 9:30 in the morning, and it's already 90 some odd degrees with about 40% humidity, I think is what it said. So yeah, I'm gonna be sweaty. We got storms coming at us, plus all the high heat. Yeah, so feeling it, you're gonna see it in this video for sure. Okay, so back to the Bobcat Study. Like I said, if you are new, or if you're like, well, I can't do a study, I'm not in school. That's exactly why I want to make these videos and remind everybody, you don't have to be in a university, you don't have to be part of some large study in order to advance your own education about the animals and the wildlife around you, or if you're interested, the animals someplace like where I live out in the desert. So for me, it was the bobcats. We were like, let's see what we can learn on our own, without having some big study above us, without being enrolled in anything. What can I learn about the bobcats? Now, I have to be fair enough. I did work for a large zoo. I worked for the Phoenix Zoo for a few years, so it did give me a little bit of base on how you would go about doing any kind of observations and what kind of information you would have to write down for it to be valuable. So it was not immediate when we moved out here. We've been out here about 5 years. We have 3 acres. We're up on a hill. There are washes that run on both sides of the property. So it was a little bit into living here when we started noticing that there would be a bobcat that went through. Of course, we were seeing the other animals almost immediately. The coyotes, you hear that, you see them around. The javelinas were definitely around. Of course, the smaller animals for sure. But the bobcat, no. The first time we saw one, it was a little bit, and really weren't sure what we had seen. Bobcats are good-sized cats out here. Plus, they have the stripes, so for sure, I said, oh, I think I've got a tiger. No, we have bobcats. If you watch some of the earlier videos, I definitely touch on that a little bit. So started putting up cameras on the property, seeing what we were going to see. And yes, of course, we saw some bobcats, and we've got some of the trail camera action is up here. And we're trying to see, can we tell the difference between these cats? What can you do when you are not tagging an animal, when you are not literally taking an animal, putting a number on it and putting it back into the wild? What could you actually learn? What kind of information could you gather that would maybe benefit a larger study, and then just continue your own education? So that's really where we're at. Now, you know what time it is. Water. I need more water. Every video, talk to you about this. Drink water wherever you are. Water is life, and in the desert, we get dehydrated very quickly. So if you're gonna come out here to visit us, water. All right, so back to the bobcats. So we knew that we had at least one that was coming across the property. Did we know if it was male or female? No. Did we know much of anything except that we knew at least one was coming across the property? Could we learn more than that with our camera? For sure. Except cameras tend to be faulty. They don't always work. They don't always get set off. And the animals don't always go in that specific route. So only having 1 or 2 on 3 acres of property plus washes, I can't say for sure this animal was doing this. That's why we keep saying this study is going to be long-term. Too much room for error if I'm just gonna go for a week and say, is this animal doing X, Y, Z? If I study for years, I start getting a longer pattern of what we're seeing over time. That information is much more valuable. And so at this point, like I said, yeah, now we're into it. And I have been paying attention. I've been writing down the dates from the trail cams, how often we're possibly seeing these animals, I will say. I feel, in my novice opinion at this point, that we are looking at least a male that is coming through our territory. And why I have that opinion is when I started putting the pictures, our night camera, 90% of this is our night camera. We got a couple from someone, I'll get to that soon enough, but on our night camera, if you notice, as I started putting up the pictures, I said, okay, let me see if there's any pattern. I will put the pictures in order from if we're coming from the left side of the property, right side of the property, from the center. 90% of it, the animal's coming from the same direction at us. So there's a whole bunch of, so it tends to be this loop, and we seem to see groups of times when we're here and then not. Groups of time when we're here or not. Now, I've mentioned before in other videos, don't know if you were, like I said, if you are new to this type of video with me, this ongoing studies, casual talking, you're gonna learn as we go. A male bobcat's territory is about 10 times the size of a female bobcat's territory. So on average, they say roughly about 6 miles for a female and 60 miles, up to 60 miles for a male as he's searching for his females. My guess is that we've got ourselves a male by the body shape and sizes, but then we also have one that's a little thicker. So again, very, very hard to tell. The other thing we did do is put some sand all around the water bowl that we have here so we could see if we could get paw prints. There's so much room for error in some of this. The javelinas come through it. The rabbits for sure make a mess out of the sand. So something that we thought would be relatively easy by putting sand all around it to see some paw prints. Yes, when you are working with wild animals, there's all kinds of things that can work or not work. So if you are new to studying, do not get frustrated with things that don't go right. That's actually where we all learn a lot in science, is the things that don't go right. And you have to refigure something out and try to make it happen with animals that possibly are smarter than we are. Get some water. In the center, I've got a little circle basically of where we are. If you look at Pinal County, and it's just a little tiny map of the open space to give you kind of a point of reference of how small of an area I'm actually even studying, if you will, and then how much space you have in Arizona that would have bobcats. So no, this is just a small private study with the Desert Nature Alliance, my nonprofit, to learn, absolutely to learn, and to encourage those that maybe are studying at home, like I said, and any of that how much you can actually learn on your own, that you could support the wildlife in your area. And that's definitely what I want to do. More awareness that we have these beautiful cats in the area. Maybe they need protecting, maybe they need to be monitored, maybe that we need to make areas for them so they don't get into the traffic, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so how did I get some of these really amazing pictures over here? Well, I did a couple shout outs to some friends that are on Facebook that are in groups locally. I don't tend to go in those type of groups. I don't know. So I said, can you send out the information about the study that I'm doing? Let me see if I can scoot me out of the way just a little bit better here. Okay, so she was wonderful, and she sent out to some of the groups that were locally that it would matter. Hey, someone's doing a local bobcat study. Do you have any in your yard? Blah, blah, blah. And then put my information as well, and the things that I was asking for. And people are amazing. There's so many nice people and good and giving people out there in the world that, of course, immediately got information back, whether it was through email, through texting, through video, through, all different sources. And so it was a lot of fun. So I told everybody, really, we're not using these to do, show people where you live or anything else, nothing like this. It was just for the information that we could learn, possibly make some kind of very loose map about what we were possibly seeing, who we were seeing. Great pictures, like some great videos, even some YouTube videos came at me. I'll try to see if I can get some links for that kind of stuff. But one of the best calls for help that we received came from someone who lives a little further south from us. He said, you're talking really open desert out here. And it was at the time, a couple weeks back, if you guys had paid any attention to some of the videos when we were talking about the what I call triple digits, which is actually the teens. I'm so desert that if it's 100, that's normal. But when we start hitting like 112, 113, 14, we start going up. I've always called that triple digits. But anyways, so it had gotten super, super hot out here. Woman had contacted me on Facebook and said, hey, I've got a couple bobcats in the backyard, and I contacted Game and Fish, and they're like, no, you're gonna have to call somebody else. Let them lay there, do their own thing, whatever. No one's gonna come to relocate them. So she wanted to know if we had any suggestions or who else to contact. Yeah, of course, that is exactly what the Alliance is for, and that's what we built it for. And I'm super excited that it is starting to work. And it's so early, and we just developed the DNA. So how amazing to already get that kind of feedback and start putting people in lines with who we think that you should contact. I was surprised that the Game and Fish's response was like that at first, and then I sat and thought about it, and I was like, well, yeah, it's exceptionally hot. Where did the animals go? They went to something that looked like an oasis. When I saw the pictures of their backyard's gorgeous. A lot of people create those things out here in the desert because it's so hot. You make your own fantastic oasis in the backyard, whether it has waterfalls or a pool or trees and shade, and you put big walls up, and okay, this is good. Not thinking that we have cats that can easily scale that wall that you have and come lay under the trees as well. My first thought when I saw the pictures was, that's gorgeous. That looks like the zoo. That looks like the setups that we have, because you go so far out of your way to try to make animals comfortable. And I was like, yeah, they're fantastic. That they're not going to leave. Can't imagine why would you, right? I was like, I want to live wherever you're at. The pool was gorgeous, though. All the pictures were just gorgeous. So I contacted her. I said, okay, let me reach out to a few people and see what we all know collectively from other keeper people, from the zoo that I know, other institutions, all that type of thing. And the answer really was the same as Game and Fish's answer. We're going to leave those cats alone. You can try to make your yard or your oasis uncomfortable for them, but really in these high times of heat, you're going to see the animals act like we are. It's hot. They want some water, want some shade, and found a place. They didn't stay there as if they were moving in, but they were definitely hanging out on the lawn. Our advice at first was to be more present out in that backyard, make some noise, see if that did anything. But again, when you're talking animals that are seeking a cooler spot when it's 115 out, that's going to be hard to get them to move. So I checked back in with her a couple of times, and yeah, the animals did, the bobcats did kind of come and go throughout the heat kind of thing. There was two of them. I have the pictures. I don't know if it was boy and girl, and young ones, two girls, two boys. I don't know yet. So we can take a little bit closer on that. Like I said, I checked back in with her, and it seemed like the cats have moved on, which makes a lot of sense. Living there, no, but using it on knowing that it is there is something that I think that I'm sure she's aware of. But that's why we're talking about it, is the animals are smart, and once they've already lived on some grass, kind of like the rest of us, once you've already been to the pool a couple times, you know where it's at, easy to get to. So that's something that you think about and consider when you move to the desert, or when, like us, when you live in the desert. And we've talked about putting a pool in and all those different things. Oh, who else are we inviting to come, and how is that going to work? And especially when you have walls and these animals are still capable of going over the walls. So yeah, we learned a lot about that. It's amazing. So we'll still be in touch with her. Fantastic, it's fantastic. And then we got some other really good pictures, even baby bobcat in a planter. The pictures are fantastic. Like I said, we're in just a tiny little area, and maybe a handful of people reached out and said, yes, this is what we have. So no, is this study complete? No, we're barely scratching the surface of, yes, we know that we have bobcats here. I worked at the golf course across the street, and we've seen them. We've seen mama cats, baby cats, so we know that we have them out here. So right now it is still just in the observation style type of studies. How would I count them without actually, having physical contact with the animals? Really would be exceptionally hard. Now, more cameras on our property would be, of course, that would be optimum. If any of you have ever bought one of these type of cameras, they're in and of themselves not expensive. It tends to be the batteries that really just go over the long term. So if we have anyone out there that wants to send some of these, or sponsor whatever you want to do, these kind of cameras are valuable when you're doing these kind of studies. So we can take them back in. The newest one that I have out there, on the main one, we can go through the phone and get the information off. It's just fantastic. So that's some of the upgrading that we want to continue to do for the study itself. Right now is the time of year when we're going to try to, God, everything's blowing around out here. Time of year where we're going to be looking at grants. One of the things that we'd really like for this study, besides the support of it, is we would like to put a permanent water feature down lower on our property. So it's not so close to us up here, a larger one maybe that is solar powered, that is large enough for a larger animal to dip into, all those kind of things where we can put our cameras on and really monitor. Like, so we have 3 acres, so designating a spot for that is not a problem whatsoever. But the funding for it would be fantastic. So if you want to help on that or know how to push that forward, absolutely. But that's what we're going to be looking at this point. So yeah, I think that's great amounts of information. We're watching how the bobcats move, seeing some striping difference, definitely seeing some good close-ups. We are seeing on the news where they find them in patios and that type of stuff. We have verification on that. Looks like bobcats don't mind being on the bar either. I'm loving it. More bobcat information, the better. So, already really hot out here. Glad that you spent the time with me. I hope you did learn or get excited about the fact that we are studying the wild animals out here. Definitely go back to the videos on our channel. Got a ton of them that I put out there, between the tarantulas that just were wandering around out here because of the rain. Sherman, our desert tortoise, has been out. We had an amazing video of one of the storms that just went through. So there's all kinds of stuff on the channel I'd love for you to take a look at. And definitely going to keep growing. So have a great day. Much love to you all. And see you again soon with more bobcat information. Bye.